Pope Francis remains in critical condition in Rome tonight. The Vatican says the Pope suffered a prolonged asthmatic respiratory crisis. The Pope is receiving treatment for pneumonia in both of his lungs. The Vatican says he is alert and he spent the day in an armchair, but he is more fatigued today than he was yesterday. The Pope has been in the hospital since Valentine's Day after suffering from bronchitis. The 88-year-old was diagnosed with pneumonia on Tuesday. Not only did the Pope receive a breathing treatment because of that difficulty breathing, he also had a blood transfusion to help increase blood levels in his system. Now, Francis has been Pope since 2013. We spoke with Bishop Michael Olson of the Fort Worth Diocese this afternoon. He is asking for prayers for the Pope.
Well, I think most of all, the most important thing that they should do is pray. Pray for the Holy Father, that he not suffer unduly, that he be prepared should death come, that he's prepared to meet the Lord. And it's mindful for all of us that we're all going to face death someday, and we're all going to face Almighty God, and we'll be giving an accounting for our lives.
Now, Olson told me he feels very connected to Pope Francis for several reasons, one of which is because he elevated him to bishop and he sent him to Fort Worth. We have a special guest tonight. Cynthia Atigeta is in with us this evening to give us some perspective because you've done significant coverage of the Catholic Church. So let's start first with just a question about Pope Francis, because in some eyes, he's been a transformational figure, advancing the Catholic Church in ways maybe that have made some people even a little bit uncomfortable. Sure. So what would you say is an example of the kind of impact that he has had?
Well, Teresa, you hit the nail on the head. Everyone has a different opinion about the Pope. Some conservatives within the church feel in some sense Pope Francis was not in the same line as former popes like John Paul II and Pope Benedict after the Second Vatican Council. Some liberals feel he has greatly improved the Catholic Church's image, but perhaps hasn't gone far enough to push for more change within the church, particularly with social justice. But largely, Teresa, the Pope has reminded Catholics worldwide that God and Jesus is love, and that his greatest teaching is to love one another. For instance, the Pope has been a strong proponent of reminding people that we're told in the Bible to welcome the stranger. And a lot of people don't like that, which has led to anger both inside and outside the church. Francis can be very off the cuff, and his remarks have angered some and made others very proud, Teresa. But he has always stuck with the same overarching message that God is love.
He's definitely presented himself as a Pope of the people as well. Okay, so if Pope Francis does pass, we know that a name that's very recognizable in North Texas